and we're streaming. Let me move my phone out of the way. And so we did a stream. Was it yesterday or the day before? I think it was the day before. It was 39 minutes. I didn't like the fact that it was that long, so I marked it as unpublished, and we're going to redo it. And there were 3 topics that we discussed in that stream. I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna divide those topics up into 3 different streams. Why do I use streaming versus recording? Because recording is more cumbersome. I have to record, then I have to upload to YouTube and wait for it to crunch what it needs to, and then if I find mistakes, I have to redo it. So for me, the streaming is easier. It's not exactly, I don't believe it's easier on the eyes, but anyways, let me clear my gun because we're going to talk about the Canik TP9 Elite Subcompact, and that is our current carry gun, and the gun is hot currently. Here's the chamber. It's all clean. Pulled the trigger. Gun was aimed that way. There's nothing but dirt beyond the drywall because we're in a basement. So what we want to talk about, what a Canik is, in fact, we're gonna share. Yeah, we're gonna stick to what we said. We're gonna talk about 3 different things. 2 about the Canik and 1 about something else. So in the last stream, we talked about the different holsters that we've been using and why we were using them. I like to give constructive criticism of holsters, or constructive appraisal, so to speak, especially in the day and age where people hate, for example, what is that? You see the alien head right there? Aliengear. This is the holster company that people love to hate. Why? I have no idea. Maybe it's because of their aggressive marketing. They're all over the place as far as marketing is concerned, and it's aggressive. If you want to make money and you want to get your name out there, that's what you got to do, and I don't blame them for that. And they might have a spotty model of holster or 2, but they have many different types of holsters. This one, there's nothing wrong with this one at all. So this is one of their hybrid types of holsters. No, it's not all leather. In fact, this front covering is not leather. I do believe it's vinyl. Neoprene on the back to absorb moisture, like sweat, anything like that, water. And a plastic not Kydex shell screwed together here, so that the holster does not come this way. So it comes apart. The shell is apart. Those screws are not there. These screws are not there. These clips are not there. Those bushings are not there. You have to put it all together. So the number 1 complaint that I see people make is that, well, the screws always come loose. Well, no shit, because you're not putting Loctite or thread locker on the threads. So since this isn't coming to you pre-built, I would not fault Aliengear for that. Whenever you're putting screws together for something that you're going to be carrying, which requires lots of movement, jostling around and such, you want to ensure that you're using thread locker on any threads or threaded items. So I had thread locker on all of these screws. I haven't lost a screw, and the screw hasn't loosened since. What's another thing? People, they say that it's cheaply made for the weight that I carry. It doesn't matter to me. I have, so this is their 3.0 version. I do believe they have a 4.0 version. Originally I bought like maybe 3 or 4 of their 2.0 holsters, which are almost exactly like this. The only difference being that The only difference was the spring metal in between the front material and the back material here, which you can see right here, was a little bit weak and it cracked. And so instead of returning the holster, which you can certainly do if you have problems with your 2.0 holsters where that metal is cracking, you can return that, and they'll give you probably a free one. They probably upgrade you to this for free. It's a lifetime warranty with those guys. So again, I don't see the problem with Aliengear, especially with the warranty such as that. You just gotta use it, and you should not, in my opinion, you shouldn't poo-poo on products that have faults, unless you try to return or make a warranty claim and the maker doesn't want to cover any warranty or any type of fix or offer you something. Especially nowadays with holster makers are, you know, they're guaranteeing their work. So if you're not reaching out to them and telling them that there's a fault with their holster, that, you know, and that you want a replacement holster, then that fault is yours and yours alone, because they can't mind read, and you should never assume that every single piece of material that the gun maker makes is not going to have some type of fault. Your option is to reach out to them and give them a chance to fix the issue. So so the gun is clear. We're going to stick it in the holster here. This right here, you see that gap where the shell isn't covering the trigger guard area fully? That's a major no-go for some folks. But I'm of the thinking that if you can't provide a proper use case as to why that's a failure, then there should be nothing wrong. Especially in a case like this. Look, there's a sliver of daylight. The daylight is showing behind the trigger. There is no way that something's going to get in front of that trigger in between these two pieces of material. Hold on a second here. Okay, not there, but this is something we didn't pick up on in the other video, and we're going to discuss that real quick here. So here, let me see if I can actuate the trigger if I do that. So we've racked the gun. The gun is clear. So remember, we cleared the gun. We're just racking the slide. And there's a reason that we want to do that. So, gun is pointed in the safe direction. If we reach behind here, and I'm not sure if my lighting is picking this up well. Do I have a flashlight? I do, but it's one of those head-mounted flashlights. So, right here is the trigger guard area, and between the backing material, I'm trying to reach the trigger to see if I can actuate it, and I almost can. So they need to short that up. In fact, I can reach my finger in here, but the thing is, remember, it's got a Glock-like trigger with the 3 blades. So that's preventing actuation. But the fact that there's a gap there and that I can get something inside of it, it's still coming in behind the trigger. So you're going to have to extend it well in that hole to see if you can pull the trigger, if you're going to test something. If you're going to test to see if you can trip that trigger there. But that's the only fault I can see with this particular holster. And that might have been shored up in their 4.0. But I don't care so much about this. That might be a problem. So, I mean, I'm trying to show that hole in there. There's a sizable gap in there. But other than that, I rate this holster is pretty good. So I use this because it's the more. I have 3 holsters that I rotate with when using this gun, and it depends on what I'm doing and what I want to do with it. So with this particular holster, it's the biggest holster that I have. It's a hybrid. What's cool is that it keeps this trigger off of my skin. I mean, not the trigger, the slide off of my skin. Because I typically wear t-shirts and I don't wear t-shirts under t-shirts, right? So if I'm using one of my other holsters that we'll show in a second, the slide is going to be rubbing up against my skin, and then plus that allows a transfer of salts from the body onto that slide. So what it doesn't do is it doesn't protect all of this like the grip. I would actually like to see them offer a Cloak Tuck version that covers all that area, so this as well. That's just me though. For me, there's no con with this. Okay, again, pulling in a safe area, trigger. We've also been using this. So prior to this, we stopped using this 3 weeks ago, and now we're using this one. The reason I like this one is because it has a retention screw as well. It's smaller, so if I'm going places where I'm gonna need to be taking this on and off a lot, of my 3 holsters, well, I have one that's easier to take on and off. This one's not so bad. The con is that both the slide and the grip is exposed, and it rubs against my skin over time. Adding the Talon grips does help me with that abrasion of the skin, but then there's the slide that I have to worry about as well. This is the one, if I hadn't said it already, this is the one that came with the gun. The one that people kind of talk bad about, saying, well, it's good that they offer, but it kind of sucks. In my opinion, it doesn't. Out of all 3 of these, I've been using this one the most. So, you know, instead of shitting on an offering that someone's giving you for free, you should kind of uplift it a little bit, because that could be gone. And nowadays, gun makers don't tend to be giving you a lot with the gun. For instance, I would have liked to have had more magazines with the gun. I got 2 of them, but what's the hurt in giving me another one, even if you have to raise the price a bit? The standard should, in my opinion, the standard should be 3 holsters. So, and the last holster that we have is an N8Tactical. A lot of people shit on these types of holsters as well. You know, it's either all Kydex for the holster Nazis, or all leather. And so, out of all 3 of these holsters that we've shown, none were Kydex and none were leather. So this is sort of like the other one that the Aliengear one in that. So this one has a backer, but this is actually leather. Just a backer though. Vinyl on the front, and there is some cushioning and probably absorbing material in the middle. It's very comfortable. What I really like about this, and I carried this with this holster yesterday, is the fact that I can isolate the whole gun from my skin. Especially with me wearing t-shirts, right? So if you look back here, you cannot see the gun at all. Well, unless you do that, but flush wise, there's nothing that's on the gun that's going to touch your skin, even the barrel. Also, you can adjust the cant on this. This is you can loosen this and kind of get it to your liking, and then tighten it back up. A lot of people poo-poo on this, you know, this neoprene or this stretch material. There's nothing wrong with this. I have another holster just like this for the Bursa Thunder that I'd used for maybe a year and a half, 2 years. I still use it when I carry the Bursa. There has been no deterioration of any part of that holster. There's a bug on my wall. We'll leave it alone. It's one of those, it's not a centipede, but it's one of those things with many legs that eats other bugs, so we'll leave it alone. But there's nothing wrong with this holster. In fact, N8Tactical, they don't care. This is the only holster that they offer for this particular gun. I would love to see a pro variant holster for the TP9 that they offer. I think they offer them for the bigger TP9s, but not for the smaller ones. So I mean, I have 3 holsters that I kind of pick and choose from, and I mean, at least there's the option, right? But I'm a little less picky than other folks. What's cool is all 3 of those holsters, or at least those 2, like the Aliengear and the N8Tactical, all 2 of those are made in the U.S. I'm not sure if this can be considered made in the U.S. I don't know if it was made in their Vermont shop, or if this was exported from Turkey. Doesn't say anything on the outside that would indicate where it was made at, but it doesn't bug me. So that is it, and we're right at the 17-minute mark, and we're gonna go ahead and go, and then we'll start another stream talking about the other topics that we wanted to discuss. All right, bye.